G'day everyone, my name's Lachlan Pirie. In this video, I'll be interviewing Daniel Munro, a young writer who lives in Surrey, England. His debut novel, The Taste Beneath, is being released in September this year, which chronicles the journey of Ryan Field, a joint leader of a community surviving on the remains of a vineyard on the border of the Surrey Hills. It is a post-apocalyptic novel set in southern England. It has been 5 years since the global conflict known as the Fast War. When a new, unexpected threat reveals itself to this community, everyone learns just how depraved people can become. Ryan, left with no other alternative than to keep his family and friends alive, has to push himself down a rabbit hole and perform acts of horror that no human should ever witness. Whilst writing this novel, Daniel works as a full-time chef and also has his hands full doing self-marketing. Today, I will be talking with him about his upcoming book and also about what path led him to being a writer. If you guys enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to find out more about Daniel, you can find his social media details in the comments section below. Enjoy. Before I jump into talking about The Taste Beneath, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions about you as an author. To start
Okay.
off with, how old are you? And when did you first decide that you'd like to become an author?
I'm 35 years old, and I probably realised that I wanted to be an author sort of 2017 sort of time. So just after I turned 31.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Did you grow up in England?
I did grow up in England. Yeah, I've grown up in the southeast of England pretty much my whole life. I have lived in other parts of the country, the Midlands in Nottingham.
Yeah.
I've also lived right down on the south coast, but I'm predominantly a southeast sort of London area sort of boy.
Yeah. So as your writing has progressed, what's been your idea of literary success?
Essentially, to make back the money that I spent is a good start, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like the sort of bottom line goal. But if I can make one person, 5 people, 10 people sort of happy with my book, if I can take them to a place that helps them escape from a reality, then I consider that as success myself.
Yeah. So how many hours a day do you normally spend writing and book marketing?
And this is a tough one because I've written the vast majority of my book during our lockdowns.
Yeah.
I would make myself during lockdown 8 hours a day, when I had nothing else to do, minimum 8 hours a day of whether it's just writing or editing.
Yeah.
But now that I'm back at work doing 6 days a week, I'd say anywhere between sort of 2-3 hours a day at the moment.
Yeah. So what have you found has been the best way to market your writing?
Market my writing by essentially marketing myself. That was sort of what I was taught over some of the online classes.
Yeah.
I use Instagram quite a lot.
Yeah.
That's good. There's a lot of hashtags on there as well. I've met a
Yeah.
lot of people like yourself.
Yeah.
But another sort of secret is I've learned not to always post the book itself. Don't try and
Yeah.
overload people with
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah.
then the image gets a bit samey. So
Yeah.
mix it up with some content about yourself,
Yeah.
what you do for a living outside, some of your hobbies, then go back to the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is sort of the same type of question, but what other authors are you friends with, and how do you help them become a better writer?
Well, there's yourself, there's Nadine. A lot of the authors I know now, there's Kane Quillman, big fan of him. There's a lot of other authors that I've all met for Instagram. Sorry, what was the question again? Oh, Monday morning
Well,
syndrome.
just generally, just people you collaborate with, and how have you been working with them?
I did, well, this is my first ever recorded interview, and I did my first ever live interview with Nadine last night. I think the best thing you could do is just be honest about what you've experienced,
Yeah.
because we're all sort of learning from each other. There's no point
Yeah.
trying to hide anything. Just
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
honest, be
Sure.
open, and just, if one of us excels, it then sort of motivates the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be honest with each other. That's one thing I'd say.
So is there going into writing, has there been a particular genre or theme that you've wanted to focus on?
No. When it comes to genres or sort of typecasting or stereotypes, I don't like to sort of fit myself in one box.
Yeah.
I didn't go out to write Taste Beneath as a sort of just a standalone horror or a thriller.
Yeah.
If some moments were to be a bit of a buddy comedy or some were to be a full-on gore horror, I would write what was essential to the book, not what was essential to the tone it was supposed to fit in.
Yeah. So I know this is probably every writer probably has the same answer, but are you looking for writing to be a full-time gig? Awesome, man. Have you ever considered writing under a pseudonym?
No, I've never considered that. There's a lot. When I first suggested the idea of writing a book, a lot of people laughed at me. So I want them to know.
Yeah.
I want them to know that that's my name on that book.
Yeah. So final author related question, and this is a bit different. If you could do something as a teenager or young adult to become a better writer, what would you do?
I would tell myself to, as a young adult or a teenager, to probably use my time outside of work a bit better.
Yeah.
That was something I was very uneducated in when I first became a chef. It wasn't really looked at as an issue of how much we destroy ourselves. So if I could go back to the younger version of myself and say, maybe put down that bottle and do something a bit more productive with your life.
Yeah. So, okay, awesome. So getting onto The Taste Beneath now, when and where were you first inspired to write this novel?
This could be a 3-part question. The very first idea to ever write a book was back in 2011, and that was when I finished playing the campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Those games, as childish as it might sound to some of the viewers out there, the actual story mode campaigns on those gripped me. It was inspiring. Well, not inspiring, wrong word.
I agree.
To see a full global conflict, but to see it on like American soil, or you're fighting a war next to the Eiffel Tower or on the streets of London. I'd never seen anything like it. So that's when I first played with the idea of writing a global conflict book. Then in 2015, I actually wrote the plot for it when I had a bit of time to work. But to actually write The Taste Beneath was in 2017 when I sat down with myself and I sort of said, I need something to do outside of work that isn't destructive. So let's write a book. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
And late 2016, early 2017, I was working on the vineyard at the time.
Yeah.
In a restaurant. And I was just looking around like, this would be a perfect place if there was a zombie apocalypse. There's no zombies in my book, folks. Don't worry about that. But I was like, this would be a perfect place. There's plenty of ground. There's plenty of food storage. And the whole story just sort of organically sort of came together. And so early 2017 was like, this is what I'm going to do. I can write. It'll be easier for me to write a book based in Surrey because I've grown up here.
Yeah.
I can make it a lot more human, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So from then, did you plan out the book or did you just sort of sit down and let it rip?
I let the first 13 chapters rip.
Yeah.
And I probably wrote them late, was it 2017 to probably middle 2018. I've got the first 13 chapters written. But because I hadn't planned the ending, I had no end game and I didn't touch the book for maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how the book was going to end. And then once I figured out the ending, I then it sort of organically became a planned structure, but at the same time a bit freestyled.
Yeah.
And that was when I learned that it's best to have a structure.
So has there been particular writers or artists that you look to while writing this novel?
Not so much. I wouldn't say I'm massively inspired to write a certain way by other authors, but
Yeah.
there are a couple of other books. One's called 1 Second After,
Yeah.
which deals with America after an EMP attack, and the vivid details in that book of what would happen to a society only when it's lost electricity. We might think it's not that bad, but you know, we're so dependent on electricity these days.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It actually, it depicted a lot for me. So probably, the book 1 Second After by William Forstchen. I'd say probably is the heaviest influence author-wise on my book.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the themes in The Taste Beneath. Is there certain feelings or anything like that you're trying to evoke from your writing?
I'd say maybe I'm not really a theme sort of person, but if I had to choose I'd say it's my opinion or my vision on what people would do in that certain situation. I've tried to make people ask questions of, if I was that desperate, could I really do that?
So in terms of audiences, have you had certain people that you've been drip feeding parts of your book?
I wouldn't say certain audiences. I know it's definitely not for kids.
Yeah.
The reaction I seem to be getting, because I've done a few snippets with some photos of certain scenes of the book, and because I had quite a unique situation because I live on site at the hotel that I work at. And when we had the lockdown, because my hotel's been shut for sort of like 14 months, a lot of it is overgrown. So I was like, I have a perfect situation here. It's pretty much how my book looks. So I went on Amazon, I bought, a load of costumes, wigs and BB guns. And then I started doing snippets with some of the photos, and it seems to be appealing through those snippets to quite a wide genre of people. I'll say it's pretty much from the snippets and the little driplets that I've been giving out. It's pretty much good for anyone who isn't under the age of 18 and is massively offended by swearing.
Yeah. So have you, it's probably a bit different for post-apocalyptic book, but did you find you changed at all while you were writing, or were there sort of new things you discovered about yourself in the process?
I discovered that constantly being creative and productive is nothing but a good thing for yourself.
Agreed.
I assume no matter what sort of path you take in life, whatever you might do for a full-time job, or if you're at university, college or whatever, if you use your downtime productively, it's just so much better for your soul.
Yeah, agreed. So I know from experience that all writers go through a period of self-doubt. How have you overcome this and continued on writing?
By essentially screaming at myself, the same sort of way that I do in the kitchen. You might not like what you think you're producing, or you might not like what you have to do, but at the end of the day, if you don't do it, it will never get done.
Agreed.
I've been sort of taught that mentality in the kitchen. I will not be defeated by myself.
Yeah. So have you been finding stepping out and letting the world know, hey, I'm an author, look at what I'm doing?
I'm still not used to it. I was saying to them last night that some of my friends say, oh, we know an author. And I was like, who? And they were like, you. So it's not set in yet, but the feedback that I've been getting from my close friends and family before I started my Instagram account and met you guys, everyone that I've known personally, I've got to speak to people that I haven't spoke to for decades. Just say like, we're really happy for you, we're really proud, and it's kind of overwhelming, but at the same time, it's inspiring. So as now I've got a crowd to please. So I was like, crap, what do I do?
So what would be your top tip for anyone looking to become an author?
The one thing I have learned is that you do have to market yourself, whichever route you take, whether it's self-publishing or traditional publishing, because I found out that traditional publishers tend to only promote the big guns of the world, your J.K. Rowlings and your Stephen Kings. So if you want to do sort of well in the world in terms of being an author, you have to be prepared to put yourself out there. It's not just your book, it's you. That would be a first tip. And then as a second tip, I would say whatever you're writing, it's not easy. It's not easy. There'll be one typo in your book that will survive 5,000 rounds of edits. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep on going. Just keep on going.
So finally, I'd love with you to share with people how they can get in contact with you and get a hands-on copy of The Taste Beneath.
So you can find me. I only have an Instagram. I won't have a Twitter or a Facebook. So my author Instagram is author_Daniel Munro. You can private message me at any time, and I'm quite active on there. I'm open to helping people with books or any other issues you might have. And The Taste Beneath, you can find it on Amazon. You can find it on the Book Depository, and you can find it on Barnes & Noble's website. It will be released in stores on the 7th of September. And hopefully, if you're watching this in England as well, hopefully it'll be in Waterstone soon. I'm waiting to hear back from my application for that.
Oh, awesome, Daniel. I can't wait for September. It's going to be awesome.
Cheers,
when the book comes out. For anyone watching this video, if you haven't already, remember to check out Daniel's social media links in the comments section below. Also, if you'd like to meet other awesome writers and learn more about our journeys, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks heaps, guys. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Cheers, Lachlan.